Biocolonialism denotes the broader impacts on culture, politics, and society, resulting from what philosopher of science Laurelin Witt identifies as a new imperial science. This new form of scientific pursuit is deeply integrated within the framework of Western capitalism, and is an extension of the scientific methodologies of the late 18th and 19th centuries. These methodologies not only facilitated the territorial expansion of empires, but also justified the subjugation and exploitation of indigenous populations. Biocolonialism arises from the underlying beliefs, political structures, and practical approaches of this new imperial science. It enables the appropriation of indigenous knowledge and biological resources, primarily for the advancement of Western biomedical industries and corporations. It operates as a mode of neocolonialism, where the dynamics of dominance and oppression hinge upon the exploitation of indigenous human bodies and living organisms, effectively turning them into profitable biological commodities. This phenomenon aligns with the principles of cultural imperialism, wherein the dominant culture aims to assert itself in indigenous cultures by assimilating, extracting, and redefining elements that are distinctive or integral to them. However, in the context of biocolonialism, this imperialism occurs at a biological level. As Shiver elucidates, this colonization now extends to the internal genetic codes of various life forms, encompassing plants, animals, and even humans. Within the realm of biocolonialism, the battleground shifts from territorial acquisition to the cellular and chemical constituents of life and identity. Critics of biocolonialism specifically denounce the appropriation of indigenous knowledge and genetic material for the benefit of the Western biomedical industry. However, Shiver's notion of interior spaces being targeted as sites of colonial aggression certainly intersects with discussions concerning the colonization of the human body, as exemplified in Deepika Bari's work, Postcolonial Biology, Psyche and Flesh After Empire. This work delves into the adaptability of the colonized body, and the physical consequences of mimicking colonial practices. Thomas B. Macaulay, for instance, expressed this in the early 19th century regarding British India. He asserted that a single European library shelf held more value than all the literature of India and Arabia. His goal was to create a class of individuals who, while of Indian descent, would embody English tastes, opinions, morals, and intellect. Though not all colonizers shared Macaulay's disrespect for the existing systems of the colonized, they did believe in the importance of education in facilitating the assimilation process. When a new education system is introduced during colonization, it often leads to a diminished understanding of the colonized people's own history and traditions. The customs and practices that were once important gradually fade away. This phenomenon is discussed by Paul Gilroy in his work, The Black Atlantic. Children raised in this colonial education system often find themselves in a state of hybridity, where their identities are shaped by various cultural elements, beliefs, and power dynamics. Colonial education blurs the distinction between the newly imposed ideas of the colonizers and the previously accepted native practices, making it challenging to differentiate between the two. Ngig wa Thiong'o, a Kenyan who experienced colonization, expresses his frustration with the destructive impact of colonial education on colonized peoples. He argues that this process erases people's belief in their names, languages, environment, heritage of struggle, unity, capabilities, and ultimately, their confidence in themselves. It causes them to view their past as a barren landscape of non-achievement, prompting a desire to distance themselves from it, and identify with something far removed from their true selves. Furthermore, colonial education not only leads to a disconnection from native heritage, but also undermines individual self-confidence. Thiongo believes that it instills a sense of inferiority and disempowerment in the collective psyche of colonized individuals. To undo the long-lasting harm caused by colonial education, post-colonial nations must relate their own experiences of colonialism to the histories of other nations. A new educational framework should embrace and empower the hybrid identity of a liberated people.